You're listening to
Livewire.
Hello, and welcome to Game Engine, your local source for all local gaming news, reviews, and discussion.
With me, Jonathan, and my co-host, Elliot.
Yes, I am Elliot, your friendly neighbourhood Sega and Nintendo nerd.
And my name is Jonathan, and I'm a lover of all things PlayStation.
And on today's shows, we'll be doing quite a variety of things, but all themed under the one theme of the, most recent news that's still on everyone's minds, the Nintendo Switch.
Yes, that console that was announced basically a few months ago, and it's going to be released next month.
Yes, I mean, it's very, very, very quick launch considering how recently it was just announced. I mean, only no more than like 4 months at most, I believe.
Yeah, this is uncharted territory, I believe, for Nintendo in a way that they're really bucking the trend of releasing and launching a console that really, like, early on in the year. So we'll be discussing if this is a risk that's going to pay off. We'll be talking about the lineup of games that are happening. And also, we'll be doing a top 10 as a love letter to the Wii U.
God bless the Wii U. It will always live fondly, well, at least in my heart. I'm not sure about yours, Jonathan, but it will live fondly in my heart, at least.
I'm glad someone actually did love the Wii U in the end.
I like it, but of course, we'll be discussing more about later. But for now, please enjoy the rest of Space Funk.
Yes, that was Space Funk by a composer called Samuel Reed. Many people might not know this, but a couple of years ago, I actually did my own podcast, and this was actually the theme song from the show in its last 3 or 4 episodes. I did an interview with a composer called Michael Bross. He was a composer of Ratchet and Clank and the Oddworld series, and this person messaged me saying, I thank you for the podcast. It really inspired me to pursue music, and I would like to create a theme song for you. So he sent me this, which is titled Space Funk, and this has kind of been my little bit of theme music. And I just thought, as we're doing a brand new podcast, I thought, why don't we have that as our intro music? It really sets up the tone for gaming, I think.
As music goes, it is both spacey and funky, so I think it's a pretty appropriate title. I'm quite fond of it myself, so I think it's quite pretty nifty. We managed to get our own original music just for us.
Yeah, and it fits. I think it fits the tone of the show. You know, it could be game music in some way. So, and I personally really like it. And we've got his SoundCloud in the description, because check him out. He does some really good music.
Other than Samuel Reed's music, we only exclusively play game music on this show. So, of course, we'll try to correct it to the theme of the show itself. So today, given it's Nintendo Switch discussion time, we're hearing a lot of Nintendo-themed music, or at least music from games that have been on Nintendo consoles. So then what's the first one we've got up then, Jonathan?
Well, we've got Champion Road from Super Mario World 3D.
Enjoy. And now for the news. So, on today's news, basically most recently, hackers have been at it once again as both Xbox and PlayStation owners have had their accounts hacked.
Yes, it always comes around at least once a year, and yeah, I've never really been a fan of buying things online that you download, especially on like the PlayStation servers. I've never really trusted it, because when I actually bought a PlayStation way back in 2009, that was where one of the big headlines of PlayStation Network is down. And I remember that. I got Christmas Day, open it up, got to log into the PlayStation Network. Oh, it's down. So
I mean, that's one of the things I've always really respected about Nintendo, actually, because people always get on Nintendo's case saying, oh, their online isn't as good, there's not as many good online games, no voice chat is really bad. But, to be fair, on the one hand, up until now, it's always been free, and two, it never seems to have been hacked.
yeah, but there's a reason for that.
And what is that?
Well, there's nothing really on the online services with Nintendo. So hackers just go, I'll go PlayStation this year.
What about it? People still have accounts on Nintendo that they use their money for, and they could still get into their bank details.
I know, it's Nintendo.
Oh, alright. Yes, but second point in the news is that PS4 Pro sales are currently up.
Yeah, that's I think that's good that PlayStation are continuing to sell more of consoles, but it's the Pro. I've always been a bit skeptical of the Pro, because it's kind of always been basically more grunt into a regular PlayStation, which has made the graphics look a little bit pretty. I think the graphics already look fantastic, but I haven't bought a Pro. You bought a Pro, I think, for Christmas.
Yes, so it's my first PS4. I did not get the original PS4, so PS4 Pro is currently what I just recently got. I'm currently loving it, but to be fair, given from screenshots I've seen, footage I've seen, and from seeing other people play the PS4, I really can't really notice the graphical difference all that much.
No, in fact, this week Sony have been they put out this an update for it called Boost Mode, which is basically it's going to improve performances of games, so improve the frame rate, graphics as well, just a bit more, make textures look a little bit smoother. But the thing is, though, with that is that most games that are made for the PlayStation 4 would have a locked 30 frames per second. So the boost mode will do absolutely nothing for those games. And there has been some issues with it, that they've used the boost mode on some of the games, and it has literally messed up a little bit of the game. So I can see why they're doing this with the boost, and it will help some frame rates. It definitely helped with The Last Guardian. I heard more reports of positivity on Pro than I have actually on the regular PS4. But I personally think that they should have waited at least a year, because Xbox are doing the exact same thing with their Xbox One. I think it's codenamed Scorpio.
Scorpio, that's an odd name.
Yeah, it's very sinister, but it is Microsoft. And so they're doing their own console, but they're actually going to make it more of a leap in technology compared to what PlayStation have done. I don't want to get into the specifics, but they've literally just added more parts into it instead of what Xbox are doing, where they're taking bits out and replacing them with up-to-date technology. So it'll be interesting to see in about October, November time when the Scorpio is released, and we'll see hopefully the difference in sales, because PlayStation have dominated this so far.
Well, you say that, and PS4 is still doing quite well, because just recently it's also been announced that the PS4, they managed to ship 9.7 million units in the last 3 months. And from that statistics, you'd assume, oh yeah, well, Sony must be doing great right now. But actually, in all fairness, it turns out Sony profits overall are actually down by 54%.
Yeah, I was reading a report on that recently, and I think what's happened is their PlayStation branding has been going from strength to strength. This is a big turnaround from 10 years ago, when the PlayStation 3 was released and they were losing money because it was a very high price point. I remember not buying a PS3 until 2009, which was in the second version of the console, and the price was low. So it's quite a big turnaround that now PlayStation is Sony's biggest distribution, and everything else is quite low. I mean, they're 3D TVs, they're not selling them anymore.
I was about to say, because that was a very brief fad. I mean, I personally don't know anybody that owns a 3D TV.
My parents bought one.
Okay, well, other than that, I'm not sure if I want to be friends with anybody who owns a 3D TV.
Yeah, I when we got the 3D TV, I genuinely asked why. There's no point. We said, well, we want to see Gravity in 3D. I was like, yes, but you don't
go to the cinema. That's what it's for.
Yeah, and we did. We've only used the 3D technology once, and that was for Gravity. Everything else, it's never been used. So it's completely pointless. I'm kind of glad it's dying out, but it's disappointing that Sony are not making enough profit for their TVs. Because I think their technology is really good. I like their stuff, but it's disappointing that their profits are down. But at least PlayStation's going from strength to strength.
It's curious because now we're actually seeing such a big leap for these companies and how they're changing paths. Because now it seems that Sony's going to become more well known just for PlayStation and as a gaming company, and now Nintendo is kind of more kind of delving slowly into doing more kind of app games and being more kind of nice to have likes of peripherals and merchandise. Honestly, yeah, when you say Nintendo to me now, I actually as much as I think about games, I also think about more about like merchandise and toys and things like that they make. So it's interesting how different companies are changing their paths. But another news, speaking of Nintendo, they've recently cancelled the giant robot project that they were rumouring and talking about for the past year or so. So this basically all this was going to be, I think it was going to be a planned Wii U title, but obviously given that the Wii U is effectively a pretty much dead console right now. Sadly, it seems that this project will never see the light of day. From screenshots and early footage we saw, all it seemed to be was like, I think one of Miyamoto's brainchilds of literally just a huge sandbox game where you play a giant robot in this city and you're destroying and crushing everything, which, that sounds quite fun to me. It's another element of taking kind of a childhood dream, kind of childish kind of game and turning it into a real video game, and yeah, it seems that it would have been kind of fun and cute. But would it be a AAA bestseller? Probably not. So maybe just for the time being, I guess we probably won't see this project revisited at least for a while yet.
Yeah, but some of the best games are ones that are really completely out there. I mean, Shadow of the Colossus there's nothing like it, and that was really a big game, and it sold a lot of copies of it. So I think it really you have to really be so unique and different to really actually have a game that can sell, and I think that had the potential. It's just a shame they didn't follow it through.
It's a shame, but actually, well, next bit of news. In case you didn't know, for all these listeners in Norwich, because Norwich itself, there was a Trump protest last Wednesday, and similarly in the same fashion, it seems to be the new fad going around the world, because basically a lot of game companies have decided to speak out against Trump.
Yeah, I was not surprised about the them speaking out, but it's the amount of companies. Normally, if there's one controversial thing that within a country, a couple of games companies will speak out and talk about, but no, this has been like a majority of them. There has been some big names that have kept silent. I think Rockstar have not said anything, but like Insomniac Games, they posted a video saying, basically saying that we feel this is definitely going to be harmful for our company and our country. And I have to commend them for actually speaking out about this, because they could have just said nothing, it's all about it's speaking your mind, and if you don't agree with something, it's good to voice out against it. Whatever side of the debate you're on with this, it's good that game companies did actually speak out against it. This is important.
No, it's definitely, I couldn't agree with you more. Nothing really gets achieved by remaining silent and saying nothing, and I think it's important, especially in this day and age, given that many people really underestimated the power and the scope and the reach that game companies have, and how big they are as an industry. It's really important for people in those positions who lead these companies. They have a lot of power to reach a lot of people and to influence a lot of people, and I think it's it's for the best that they make use of that power and speak their minds on the issues like this, because it kind of warms my heart to see almost an entire world united against one horrible fascist.
Yeah, I think nice. For me, I'm glad that they are speaking out, and they're saying this is what we believe, and if you feel the same, do something about it. They're not saying everyone who buys us games should be doing it. It's just, if you feel strongly against this like we do, then here are the ways you can stop this. And I think, again, that's how I like companies and people and celebrities to speak their mind. It's not forced, but if you agree with me on this, then we can do something together. I think that works.
No, definitely. I think it totally feeds into the idea of, is that a lot of people will throw around the idea of, freedom of speech a lot, and people without really knowing what that means. And freedom of speech does not necessarily mean, freedom to be listened to, and, you have no obligation to give someone a platform to speak out. But these game companies, obviously, they do have a platform because they're big. These celebrities have platforms because they are big, they are popular, they can reach more people than your average, everyday Joe would. So, I think when you have that platform, make the most of it.
Yeah, they certainly are doing that.
But next, other news, probably the biggest game release that happened in the last couple of weeks was probably the release of Resident Evil 7. And to celebrate its release, a modder by the name of Rod Lima has made a first-person mod of Resident Evil using the Unreal Engine to celebrate 7's release, and also basically to give players the experience of experiencing the horror of Resident Evil, but in first person.
See, I'd hate that. I just don't like horror games. I play them a bit because I like to have like the thrill of it, but then it gets scary. I'm like, why did I do this? What was the point? But I really think that that's excellent. To breathe life into a beloved game and put it into first person is fantastic. I love what modders are doing with games. They take original concepts and they just do something completely different. I've seen a lot with GTA 4 and GTA 5 that they put the absurd into what is very much a very mature games, and I love that. I love modders when they do it. The expansions really on single player. It's wonderful.
I mean, it's a perfect evolution of the idea of bricolage, of the consumers taking things and changing them to what they want, or to new, completely different things. And I think it's really nice how the gaming community really bands together and helps to expand franchises even further than they already did. And I'm not sure about this 100%, but I believe this mod will be available to use using VR. And if it is the case, I definitely will not be playing it.
I play it for like 5 minutes.
I think horror seems to be the up and coming most popular genre coming on VR. Which is precisely why I don't want to invest in a VR game, because I couldn't handle it, honestly. I get too squeamish, too scared.
Yeah, I definitely wouldn't want to go there. Just talking about GTA 4, there's been the news that you can now play GTA 4 on the Xbox One, which it's using backwards compatibility, which is something that I really like that Microsoft are doing more than Sony. I really wish Sony would actually have the backwards compatibility, but it's good that GTA 4 is actually running on the latest hardware. I think it always did suffer on the early PlayStation 3. It makes me quite sick playing it. The frame rate dips a lot. It's quite blurry, and I didn't really like the story anyway. But
controversy.
I know. I talk to people about this. Like, I prefer 5 story to 4, and they literally get like their pitchforks down. Like, how dare you? It's like, we'll talk about that in a later podcast at some point, but. It's good that it's actually running on the Xbox One. No confirmation if it's ever going to be on the PlayStation 4, but as always, we'll keep you posted if we hear something.
Right, another news. An upcoming, upcoming release. Dark Souls 3, its final expansion, has been announced to be released on March the 28th.
Yes. Now, Dark Souls 3 has been, from what I've heard, I haven't really played much. I've only played a few minutes of it. It's been like the best bits of numbers 1 and 2, and they put them together and they've made a game that been loved by everyone, the hardcore fans and I think the casual gamers have really taken into it. So the final bit of expansion being released for it, I think it's about a year old, the game now. It's going to be in April, so I think pretty new content for it, and I think the fans are really looking forward to this one.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, personally, not a Dark Souls 3 player, not my kind of genre, but obviously I'm aware of the massive success it is, and that's how popular it is amongst both gaming community and just in general pop culture community, I think, as well. So, yeah, if you're a fan of Dark Souls 3, look forward to that.
And Square Enix have partnered with a very small, unknown company called Marvel. Have you ever heard of them?
Marvel? No, never before. Who are they?
They did a few superhero movies, the Avengers. I mean, I don't really know what this is. I think it's really niche.
Yeah, it's very niche, probably nothing mainstream. Yeah,
well, they're partnered. Square Enix and Marvel are partnered together to make a game based on the Avengers with an original story, and. Mm-hmm. Hopefully the small amount of fans that like Marvel will really enjoy this game, I hope.
No, but I think it's a really, really clever way to kind of bring the superhero genre into gaming. Because I think one thing personally that always kind of puts me off wanting to like play superhero games is that it's like, oh, well, it's just like the movie, only that like it's a game, it's a movie tie-in to the game, and I'm a bit bored of that now. But now this is different. These are completely new original stories, a whole original universe and canon through these games, and I feel like that's really going to be really interesting, because knowing how brilliant the Batman Arkham games were, I'd love to see them do the same thing with Marvel.
Yeah, because this is going to be, they're going to announce more in 2018, so we've got a year to wait before they release any more news. But from what I heard, because E3 last year, because Sony have partnered up with Insomniac Games and Marvel to make a Spider-Man game. So I think this is really the beginning of seeing the best developers creating like a Marvel gaming universe, which I'm really looking forward to. Because joking aside, I think Marvel are doing a wonderful job at incorporating a lot of comic books and making them into movies. And yes, it's getting a bit bloated now. There's 2 movies a year coming out, 3 I think this year.
3 this year, yeah.
Yeah, and yes, I will admit I have got Marvel fatigue at the moment, but I think the scope they're doing it and they're keeping every one of the films somewhat unique, I think is commendable to them, and they're all really successful and really popular, and critically people are liking them, so that is important. But if Spider-Man by Insomniac can beat Spider-Man 2 way back from 2004, the video game,
I love that game.
if they can match the web swinging, I'll be happy. If they can't, I don't know, I won't be happy. I know that.
I quite like Spider-Man Shattered Dimensions. I think that's a really underrated gem of a Spider-Man game.
I've not fully played it.
Oh, because you play 4 Spider-Men in that game, and one of the Spider-Men you play is it Spider-Men or Spider-Mans? Right, I'm gonna go with Spider-Mans. One of the Spider-Mans you play as is Spider-Man Noir from the brief Noir series of Spider-Man books, where basically imagine Batman Arkham Asylum, but with Spider-Man. So kind of lots of kind of subtle kind of sneaking around stealth. And it's really, really fun. I love that bit of it. And of course, everything is drawn in black and white noir style, and it looks absolutely beautiful. But anyway, tangents aside.
Well, just about E3, just a quick bit of news is that E3 are going to be opening their doors to the public. First time ever, apparently. We didn't even realise that was a thing, but there's going to be 15,000 tickets being made available starting on Monday, 13th of February.
Ooh.
I know, E3 coming up. We'll cross that path later as we get through the show later on in the coming months, because a lot of anticipation this year.
Lots of anticipation. Hopefully, well, because given that we're talking about Nintendo today, we'd hope that the E3 this year, Nintendo actually has a bit more to show.
Yes, hopefully. Anyway, I think that concludes the news.
Or should I play the outro again of the news theme?
I think so.
Do you want to? Okay, special treat for you. You get to hear it twice in one day. You lucky people. Where is that sound clip from?
I believe that's from Ratchet & Clank All for One. It's composed by Michael Brass, who I name dropped earlier, and they had a news broadcast partway through one of the missions, and that pops up. So I quite like that. It gives authority to the news. This is not just regular news. This is important, breaking news.
You could say it's the only good thing to come out of All for One.
Possibly,
because I haven't played much Ratchet & Clank, but I'm aware that game has not looked favourably upon by the community.
Neither was Full Frontal Assault, and that came out a year later.
Oh, was that the tower defense one?
Yeah.
See, that's the thing. When you've got a good formula, don't stretch outside of it. Just keep doing what you do best.
They were the dark days of the franchise.
But anyway, speaking of sci-fi-ish games, we'll leave you now with a track from Sonic Colors, "Reach for the Stars."
I know
that was Reach for the Stars from Sonic Colors.
Yeah, that's a really good song. I loved it. I haven't really touched many Sonic games in my time, but no, that was a really good bit of music.
It's really fun. It's really catchy. It really gets the light-hearted nature of the game itself. And honestly, it's one of my favourite Wii games, and I would heavily recommend to everyone.
Anyway, today, as we said, we're going to be talking about the Nintendo Switch, the new Nintendo console coming out on March 3rd. So we are about 2-3 weeks away from this now.
Goodness, I literally just lost track of how close we actually are to this being released, and there's still a lot of uncertainty about a lot of what's actually going to be going on with this console.
Yes, because when we look at the last year for Nintendo, the Wii U, that was reportedly its worst year. They only had 10 games that were released at retail, exclusive to the Wii U. We had 2 Lego games, Mario and Sonic at the Rio 2016 Olympic Games.
Which wasn't that good, to be honest. I played it. It wasn't good.
So when you look at what they're doing with Nintendo and the brand new Switches, I feel that they're rushing this one out just to say, look, we've got a new console. It's completely different. It's not the Wii U here, and I feel that's going to go against them.
When you say that, I mean, I'm very much on the bench of this one. End of the day, because I am a Nintendo loyal consumer, Nintendo gamer, I want this thing to succeed. I want it to do well. I don't want Nintendo to do badly, but I would be lying if I said I wasn't skeptical about it. But I will give them credit for this. As much as obviously we're going to discuss about the disappointment of the actual launch itself and some of the games coming up for it, I can at least give Nintendo credit for this and how they're really making a statement and showing that they've really changing their mindset and how they want to run their company and how they want to run the making of their games. Because I feel like the Wii U was trying to be too much like the Wii, and that it was focusing on simple fun, simple kind of gimmicky, family-friendly, party games, party minigame mayhem, and that all kind of worked the Wii because it was kind of new and interesting and brought in a whole new audience. But the Wii U didn't work quite as well, mainly because the gamepad itself was so expensive, added a huge unnecessary cost onto the Wii U. It wasn't as easy to use, wasn't as versatile, and it made it really hard for third-party developers. I think it's where that's why I didn't really pick up as well. People were getting a bit bored as well. A lot of Wii U games were just Wii games, but slightly bigger and expanded. But with the Switch, though, I feel like they're completely changing their mindset because they're saying, no, you know what? Look at all these games we're announcing. They're all really big, epic, open-world, in-depth games. And yes, that's more exactly what we need more. It's what the rest of the game companies are doing. Nintendo's finally learning and catching on and doing really big, in-depth games that are actually going to last a long time and aren't just going to be used as a party gimmick.
I feel there's a double-edged sword with this because it's coming, as we said, in less than a month's time. And they have announced a load of brand new big games that are coming out for it. But the thing is, though, none of them are coming out at launch. And I fear that if it has a very weak launch, I think it could actually go against them in that these third-party developers that are developing for the games now could actually turn around and say, well, hang on a minute, we're going to cancel this, or we won't do another one down the road. I mean, Ukulele's developers, Playtonic Games, they said they're not going to do the Wii U version because of the sales of it, but they are doing the Switch. But will they, later on down the road, will they actually do another game for them? Because if they're getting more sales on Windows PCs through Steam and that, PlayStation and with Xbox, are they going to go back to Nintendo? Because if they're not getting anything out of it, they'll probably just cancel their ports of their games.
That's a very interesting point. We could have another situation of Rayman Legends on our hands, because if any of you that don't know, Rayman Legends, the sequel to Rayman Origins, which is a completely fantastic game, by the way, it was very early on announced as to be an exclusive title for the Wii U, and everybody was so excited. Other people were thinking, yes, I've got to buy a Wii U because I love Rayman Origins. I want to play the sequel. It looks so good. And then literally, I think, just like a month before it was meant to be released, they announced, nope, they're delaying it because they wanted to make it for the other consoles, and it was no longer an exclusive. And that was kind of the point where everybody realized the Wii U is not going to get the third-party support that it really, really needs. And I really don't want the same thing to happen to the Switch.
Yeah, because I actually bought Rayman Legends and Origins for my PS Vita. And yes, I own a Vita. Only 6 people in the world own a Vita.
You strange child.
I know. But to be honest, there are so many flaws with the PS Vita. And I admit that, I know, I could feel it too, that it's a good console, it's just it doesn't have very good third-party support. And when they do, it's just, the quality of the games are just not there because it's really underpowered for what it's trying to be a home console on the go. But with that, with Nintendo they had third party support, then they lost it, and they went to instead of it being third party exclusives to the Wii U. Will we see that with the Switch? Will we see exclusive third party games being put onto the Switch? At launch, they're not. They're doing games that have already been released on other consoles, such as the new Skylanders game that came out, I think, in November. That's getting a port onto the Switch. Just Dance 2017, I believe, is onto the Switch, but that's already been released.
It's a shame that how a lot of them are just seems to be ports. But but to be fair though, when they announced Skyrim for the Switch, I think that's an interesting bold move to make, because obviously your first instinct is think, oh, Skyrim, we've already played this, everyone's already played Skyrim. But I think that was more Nintendo saying, no, we're announcing Skyrim because it fits into our new mindset of, no, we want to do big, expansive open world games that you can take on the go. And the reason why I really applaud Nintendo's change of mindset isn't just in the choice of games, actually. It goes further than that. Talk actually about the specs of the console itself. I think Nintendo's done some really, really interesting and good things that people have been demanding for decades. So for one, finally, no more region locking. You can buy games wherever you want, which is something that Nintendo's previously been quite stingy about. To the better online system. They're not going to make us pay for the online system now, but that's understandable given that's what every other company does now. But we're actually getting the full experience. We're actually getting things like voice chats, which is something people have been wanting for a very, very, very long time. And also, this might seem like a small detail, but for me, this is really, really, really big news. You can actually charge the gamepad itself using a USB Type-C cable, which makes it just so much more easier to charge wherever you are, and doesn't require you to go out of your way to buy these unnecessary extra adapter chargers. Nintendo has always been wanting to sell you in the past, and I think Nintendo's only been ever outdone by Apple in terms of unnecessary cables and peripherals.
Yeah, but I just want to get back to Skyrim. Even though it fits in with their new message of big, expansive open world games, the thing is, the people who have already played Skyrim are not going to go out of their way, and if they to buy Skyrim again on the Switch, even if they've buying the Switch again, if they're buying the Switch for it and they've already played, they're not going to buy Skyrim again, because from what I've seen of footage of it, the port doesn't look entirely that good. There's been a couple of frame rate drops, but there's also another issue with it, is that if you've got it's a 6-year-old game, I believe. If you're finally being able to port a 6-year-old game, how long before you get something that's selling really well? Like GTA 5 has been one of the third most popular game of all time in how many copies they've shipped. How long before Nintendo get GTA 5 on there? Because if they put GTA 5 on the Nintendo Switch, I'd still say the same thing, that you're a bit late to the party here, Nintendo, but there would be guaranteed sales of it because people would buy it. So I'm concerned that even though it's good that they're getting Skyrim on there, finally it's on a Nintendo console, but people are going to look at it and thinking, well, the Switch can now run games that are 6 years old. So the hardware will already look dated from an outsider perspective and a game developer perspective, because I'll think, well, what's the point of making a brand new game? We could just port an old one over there.
That's a very interesting point. Yeah, but I think really it will matter on just how much appeal the idea of the portability actually comes into play. We can speculate now. We can say that, oh, people who have played Skyrim aren't really likely to go out and buy it again. But then again, who knows? We really don't know. It's interesting going to be seeing just how popular the portability is, and how if people do buy the Switch, whether they're going to play it more at home or whether they're going to play more on the go. And just to front out say, as soon as I saw the Switch reveal, I do really like the idea of it. We can finally play home console games, really huge, in-depth, detailed, beautifully graphical games on the go. I think it's a brilliant idea, and I love how Nintendo's focus now is the gimmick is about motion, is not about unnecessary extra screens. It's all about the games themselves. Now you can move them wherever you want. However, I'm not sure if it's true. Maybe you can clarify this for me, Jonathan. But I've heard that apparently you need to have an internet connection in order to actually play the games when you're out and about.
Yeah, I believe so. We'll have a look while we're having our next musical break. I'll have a quick little look online to Google, and we will find out if that is entirely true. But we'll say it's speculation at the moment. If you do, that's really going to cut down the amount of the usability of having a console on the go, but you have to lock it to online. I mean, I personally have never used online services for any of my handheld games. That's the PSP, the Vita, and the DS. I've never used the online because
You've never done Pokemon trading online.
no,
You poor thing.
I did kind of give that to yes to my dad. I said, Dad, happy birthday at the time, but I'd never done that because because I'm taking it out on the go. If I'm going out somewhere, like I'm on a train or on a bus somewhere, I haven't got Wi-Fi connection, so I've never needed it. So we'll have to we'll do a bit of research into that. When we come back, we'll discuss more on that. So, Elliot, what is going to be our song for our musical break?
Well, quite fitting for the Nintendo Switch because it's one of the big launch titles and one of the big games. Actually, probably the big game that everyone's talking about is Zelda Breath of the Wild. So I thought it would be very appropriate to continue on with a little Zelda melody that was taken from Video Games Live. what a beautiful melody
That
of Zelda
is-
tunes.
That is wonderful. Again, this was a game music recorded live with an orchestra.
Yes, this was. Have you heard of Video Games Live?
Yes.
Yes. Well, basically, yeah. I went to actually went. I saw them live once at Gamescom in Cologne a year or two ago. It was absolutely brilliant. I love them so much. I think they're absolutely wonderful, and it's a true testament to the beauty of some video game composers and video game music. Because often even ones that aren't originally done in an orchestra sound beautiful through an orchestra. Because at the end of the day, they're just really good melodies.
Yeah, and that's good. We've actually got this for the podcast today because it really not only fits in with our Nintendo thing, but it's some brilliant music here.
It's very good music. It's very nice. It's very pleasant.
Yes. Now we were talking about the Nintendo Switch and the Wi-Fi. And now, little musical break. We thought let's do a little bit of research into this.
Oh, I wish we didn't now.
Yeah, I know. I've kind of broken a few hearts with this. According to the events that have happened since November and the press releases, while in handheld mode, you will be able to use your controllers. Do they have a name? The controllers at
The
the moment?
Joy-Cons.
The Joy. That name.
What's wrong with them?
It sounds like emoticons, but they're not.
Yeah, but it's Nintendo and they're hip and cool. They're down with the kids, yo. That's what Tennin's all about.
Yes, as Principal Skinner once said, am I out of touch? No, it's the kids who are wrong. If you're playing in handheld mode, so taking it out on the go, you can connect Switch controllers via Wi-Fi for local multiplayer games. So if you've got it connected to the screen, that will be fine. But if you want to do multiplayer games on the go, gonna need that Wi-Fi connection.
I think that's honestly terrible design. I think that's going to cripple it because that was one of the beautiful things about the Wii actually. Because when we first started out, the Wii had pretty much next to no internet capabilities, but it didn't matter because it had its own separate way of connecting Wii remotes. And that's what people cared about. We had local multiplayer fun. But now, just do the simplest of multiplayer for this console. You need Wi-Fi, and especially if you're out and about on the go, or meeting your friends in the park, or just on the hill, as was demonstrated in the reveal video, then you can't actually do that unless there's Wi-Fi.
Now, we will say, if you were in your home and you got a couple of friends over having a pizza and gaming night, and you've got it connected up to your TV, that's fine. You will not need Wi-Fi for local multiplayer.
Okay, so we went for that. So okay, they're good.
Which I think every console under the sun does that. That's a home console.
I was scared for a second.
Yeah, but if you want to take this out on the go, as you said, go up to the hill and under a tree and play some Mario Kart 8 or Splatoon, you won't be able to play multiplayer, which I think this is really going to hit them because people are going to realise, and it's going to spread once it comes out that this is actually a thing, that you can't play multiplayer games unless you've got Wi-Fi. Now, okay, it's going to be, that's obvious, but they have marketed this as a handheld console as well as a home console, and I think it's a good idea and concept, but you need that Wi-Fi connection for the multiplayer games, which are very important.
So just to clarify then, you can still play single-player games when you're out and about on the hill.
Yes.
Without Wi-Fi.
Yep, that is absolutely correct.
Cool, that is good, because that would have been absolutely terrible if that was the case. So thankfully, see, all you hill-loving people out there, go up to your favourite hill and play some Mario Kart. You can do that to your heart's content, as long as you're alone and sad.
I really down a moment just then, but I suppose it fits the theme of the Switch at the moment. So we with this that's an issue. And we mentioned the Joy-Cons.
So on the one hand, I think, double-edged sword once again. On the one hand, I like the design. I like how easy it is. Seems to kind of, just slip them off the gamepad and set them onto your own controller. Makes them very versatile. I like how you can turn on their side. It becomes like a small mini NES controller and makes it easier for multiplayer. When you buy a Switch, you effectively already get 2 controllers at once, which is handy. I think that side of things, all cool, all perfect, all fine. Very versatile, very easy to use, very easy to keep away. That's all good. What I'm not a fan of, though, is all the extra bells and whistles they seem to have unnecessarily added onto it, because, like the Wii Remote, it's got motion control. It's also got, like, a hidden camera that can detect what hand gestures you're doing on the side. It's also got these other rumble features and other bells and I can't remember all of them. They list about 5 of them in the presentation, and I'm thinking, who actually cares, and how big a thing is this really going to matter? Because if you remember back in the past, when it comes to Nintendo peripherals, a lot of them get forgotten about very quickly after launch. Think back to the 3DS. That offered 3 different cameras. So you could take 3D photos. You could use AR cards to have like AR images appear from these cards using the real camera and things like that. And at the time, yeah, seemed really cool. When you bought a 3DS, you probably played around with it for a few minutes. But then that was it. And no one, including Nintendo themselves, no one gave it attention anymore. Who even actually uses 3D on the 3DS anymore? It's in the title. And I haven't turned on the 3D slider until since I bought it.
Yeah, I remember actually playing that using the 3D when I was in the States at the time, and I felt sick. I don't get sick playing games or anything. Like I'm really good at that, apart from GTA 4, but that's an entirely different story. And I was like, okay, I'm feeling dizzy right now, and I've only just looked at it because it's so weird. But the with the which I'm positive with the Joy-Cons. You get two. I mean, I bought a PlayStation 4, one controller. I bought a PlayStation 3, one controller. So I had to like get another one if I ever wanted to play with another person playing on the PS3. I've still only got one PS4 controller, so.
Oh, you poor thing.
Yeah, I know.
I'll bring mine over next time.
Oh, fantastic. But like, so I like the versatility of that, but it's the amount of bells and whistles they're putting on this. Nintendo have done that a lot. I mean, they didn't put a pancake maker on the Wii controller. I was disappointed.
That was a shame. That was a missed opportunity. That.
Yeah, they'd have sold millions more copies of that. But I think that because Sony did the same thing with the Rumble. I think they've had that since the PlayStation 2 era. They did Rumble, and the PlayStation 3 they added in the 6-axis, as they call it, the motor controls. It's never worked. Hated that on the first Uncharted. Like balance on a bridge, and you're like, I can't. I'm literally the controller straight, and Nathan Drake is tumbling right off it.
It's interesting you mention that because I literally had no idea that was even a feature. Because I was quite late to buying a PS3. I bought it when like the new second model. It's all kind of curved and fancier. And I was completely surprised when I had to do a mini game in a game where I was required to tilt the controller. I was like, I had no idea there was like motion control in this thing. Like, when was this a thing? So clearly it was something that was very clearly dropped and forgotten about very early on, as most of these extra gimmicks are.
Yeah, because my first ever PlayStation 3 game was the Ratchet and Clank at the time, Tools of Destruction, and they had the motion control for like a flying section, and because I hadn't got used to it, I'm literally like I'm trying to swat a fly. Basically, I'm going up and down, like I'm literally off the chair, like on the floor, go down, and it just doesn't work. And then once you get used to it, it kind of worked, but it was still absolutely pointless. In fact, no games I think after 2010 used the motion. I think it was like only like a couple, and that was when basically Sony went to the office and said, "Are you putting motion controls in the game?" No. You are now. It was
tough luck.
I think Sly Cooper Thieves in Time did force motion.
Did
in like
it?
yeah, there was like some of the like hacking mini games suddenly put force motion controls in. Like, wait a minute, this is a relic.
Do you know that Sly Cooper 3 actually had mandatory 3D segments where you actually had to put on 3D glasses?
Yeah. I actually still have that.
You still have that?
I actually didn't mind it because in the game, well, okay, it didn't look that good. The frame rate did drop, but I loved how in the game Sly would actually have 3D glasses on. So it looked absolutely ridiculous, but I kind of thought, okay, it was a gimmick. It didn't really work, and since then I've never done it since. But I did love how Sly had 3D glasses going off in like a cave, and they actually explained it in like when they done it. It said, "Oh, it's going to be dark in here." So it's like, okay, you might want 3D glasses in this section. So I was a stupid child. Did I mention that?
Well, see, that had a lot of nice charm to it, though. But it does actually it, though. But these gimmicks never really last around that long, as history has proven. Even like with amiibos, even though they were huge when they came out, I think they are still fairly popular. People really go out their way to buy them. And that's a slightly different angle, because that's more about the toy mechanic that Skylanders had. But it's not just a case of it's not really a game gimmick, and that's not the main reason why people buy them. They buy them because they're really cool figures, and people like collecting stuff. Most people I know actually who buy amiibos don't even take them out of their packaging. They keep them in the boxes and put on their shelves, and that's why they buy them. And even now today, I feel like amiibos aren't as popular as they used to be, and I feel like Nintendo's gonna have a bit of a less of a focus on them with the Switch.
Yeah, I think they've dropped off a bit. I feel from the buzz that goes around Nintendo, but why not get them out? That's the idea of them.
People, it's the same reason why people never unpackage the 1980s original mint condition Star Wars figures. Because authenticity and value, and so they'll have more value, even though they'll never want to sell them because they're too precious to them. But I don't know. People are weird.
Yeah, they'll go on Antiques Roadshow in like 50 years' time. Like, what's it? Oh, we've got the Star Wars figures from the 1980s.
That will be like seriously. That generally will be a thing.
If
Like
Antiques Roadshow is still on at the time.
100 years from now, I bet you there will be Star Wars figures on Antiques Roadshow.
Brilliant. We'll look out for that. So, do you want to talk about the games now that are coming out for the Nintendo Switch? We'll open that can of worms.
Well, seeing as we're talking about the Joy-Cons, why don't we start off by saying, so the reason I am torn is because I just gushed a few minutes ago about it. Oh, I love how Nintendo's got these really cool open world, epic, in-depth games again. That's brilliant. But where I am also concerned is because they're also, again, resorting to these really gimmicky games. And those two, at the moment, seem to be 1-2 Switch and ARMS. Now, go to 1-2 Switch first, which, okay, at the end of the day, it looks like a bit of harmless fun. It's a mini-game compilation, making the most of the gimmicky motion controls of the Joy-Cons, which I'm sure will be a fine party edition to have some friends round. And it looks just like a demo disc, really.
It is a demo disc.
And it's demo disc that we're paying the standard price of a game for. It does not come bundled with the actual console itself.
Yeah. Do you remember the time when you used to buy a console and they used to give you the demos? Like, I remember the PlayStation 2 had a demo disc. PlayStation 1 did, I'm pretty sure.
Oh, yeah.
The PlayStation 3 didn't come with one, but they said there was a load of free demos you could download off the PSN. And the PlayStation 4, I have no idea. Like, I don't think I even looked at the demos on that console. But, like, I remember the time I used to buy a magazine and get a demo disc. Nintendo obviously don't. They're expecting a lot of money just to try out their gimmicks. So that is. I'm not shocked because it's Nintendo, but I feel like if you want to get customers coming back to your consoles, this is not the way you do it.
No, definitely not, because even though Wii Sports obviously did really, 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 really well, again, after a year or so, everyone kind of forgot about it, everyone moved on. Wii Sports Resort, the sequel, was a lot better, and the other games were much more interesting and less gimmicky. Same thing with Nintendo Land, with the Wii U. People marginally liked it, got forgotten about very quickly, because, that's what they are. They're demo discs. They show off the uniqueness of the console, they do their job, and they get forgotten about pretty quickly. That's what 1-2 Switch seems to be, only that now we're paying a lot of money for it, which is honestly, as fun as it looks, admittedly, I'm not even sure I'm really going to go out my way to buy it.
No, I don't think that'll really be. I think it's just a nothing game that people are going to buy if they really just want to try it out. But I don't think a lot of people will. But with the Wii Sports, and I remember when PlayStation did the Move version of that. I think it was Move Sports or something. I don't remember. I did actually buy that because I did actually buy a PlayStation.
You bought a Move?
Yeah, I did. I love
thing.
it. Yeah, so many dark secrets are coming out today. No, I bought a Move because, well, first of all, there was a game that had Ratchet, Jack, and Sly all in the same game, and I wanted that for years. Like, it was the ultimate dream. It turned out it was a terrible game.
It was a completely terrible game.
It was just a bunch of multiplayer, like, mini games that they put into like the game and dress it up with a terrible story. They did have all the original voice actors, so I'll give them props for that. But apart from that, no, it's not
and
that good.
Sly's face looked so weird.
I remember the initial announcement. Everyone looked like PS2 characters, like the original models. So it didn't look too bad, but there was a lot more could have been done with that. But that was like number one. But number two, I thought that's a good idea. It's competing against the Wii, and I don't want to buy a Wii because that's another console. I'll go for that. And I bought a game, The Shoot, for my dad. He's got that at the moment, and it's not that good. Even he knows it's not that good. And then there's another like not a fit game. I don't know what it's like sports. I think it's a sports game, and no, that's not that great. But it's the same trouble. Gimmicks just don't sell in long term.
No, exactly. They're brief fads. People enjoy them for a month, and then that's it. But I'm a little bit more optimistic about ARMS, only because I think that there is somewhat more to go in depth there. And it's basically like it seems to be like Wii Sports Boxing on steroids. So essentially, the same sort of gimmick. You have the Joy-Cons as your motion controls, and you are literally combating your opponent using motion, essentially, with like long, stretchy, cartoony boxing gloves, which looks kind of fun. I just hope there's a little bit more to it than that. I hope there's more diversity amongst the character roster. There's more techniques you can use, because otherwise it could go both ways. It could either be a very one and done, forgettable party game that's still being priced as a full-time fledged game, or it could end up being really in depth and becoming a really good seller. But yeah.
Because Nintendo tweeted an image of all the games they're releasing over the next until Christmas, and we can see that we've got a Zelda 1-2 Switch, Super. Is it Bomberman or something?
Oh yes, the new Bomberman R, which I think looks really really fun.
Yeah. But you got that. You got Just Dance 2017 and Skylands coming out on launch day on March 3rd.
There's another Just Dance.
Yeah.
Let the franchise die.
I thought it had already died, but apparently it hasn't. But then in March, later on, you've got a few more games coming out. April 28th is when Super Mario Kart Deluxe, or just Mario Kart 8, is coming out. Then we've got ARMS in spring, along with Splatoon coming out in the summer, along in the autumn.
Oh, we mean Splatoon 2.
Splatoon 2.
Which was a completely missed opportunity. They should have called it Splatoon, with the 2 being actually in the O's, but they didn't. I'm very upset about that.
I didn't think of that. And then in autumn, you've got the Elder Scrolls Skyrim game coming out, which is, again, why is it coming out in the fall? If it's already a made game, it doesn't need much optimization because it's old, it's 6 years old. Then in holiday, you have got Super Mario Odyssey, the big open world Mario game. And then throughout the year, they've got Sonic Mania coming out, NBA 2K, I believe that's the latest one that's coming out this year.
Sports.
Basically sports.
Whatever.
New FIFA, Minecraft. So they've got a good lineup. The trouble is, it's not a lineup on release day. It's a lineup throughout the year. If I was Nintendo and I was in running the company, I would have launched it October, November 2017. You would have had a lot of heavy hitters coming out that people have been looking forward to for a long time, and some that people haven't been looking forward to but want another version of the game, like Splatoon. I don't think, even though people want another one, I don't think it's highly anticipated. But if they released this in October, November, and had all of those games basically on like the first week being released, I think it'd be a very successful launch. I genuinely believe that.
Yeah, but honestly, I think if you kind of reassessed the Wii U's history, the Wii U could have been a lot better than it was, because it has quite a lot of really good games on it, as we'll be discussing later in our list. But there were a lot of really heavy hitters for the Wii U, and it was a case of just not enough of them came out at the right time. There was too many gaps in between. Had they all come out at a similar time or at once, I think Wii U would have had a much better start and probably lasted a lot longer.
Well, as I said, I think I said earlier that last year there was only 10 exclusive games to the Wii U that were sold at retail. And
most of them weren't even that good. Star Fox Zero.
Yeah, that one. So I think, really, it's quite difficult for Nintendo to really kind of be bold with this, because I think they're treading on thin ice. I as much as I want them to succeed with this, I don't have much hope for it. Just looking at this, like, the amount of games that are coming out, not just the amount, I mean, it's when they're coming out. You could completely dominate Sony and Microsoft if you release this console later with all of these games. If you had them on the first week of release, on all of those games, there's a lot that people want that are Nintendo fans who will buy the console for that. You'd get more sales. But if you're staggering the releases, people are going to either not buy it, and then they're going to probably buy it later down the road, but then they'll probably say, well, hang on a minute, Sony got something I want, I'll buy that instead.
That's exactly it. It really matters exactly how the competition is going to respond to this. So, personally for me, because I am a Nintendo fan, I can see myself getting a Switch, but I will not be getting a Switch on launch because of the pathetic launch that they've got going. I'm going to wait until Christmas, where I imagine the real, quotation marks, launch will happen, where they'll probably have, hopefully, a lower price, a bundle deal, more games will be released, and generally they'll have a better focus onto what kind of games they want to make for it. But having said that, I am generally really excited for Super Mario Odyssey, which I think looks absolutely fantastic, and that's completely what I wanted them to do with Mario. It's the first big, again, huge, open world, epic, in-depth, exploration-based Mario game we haven't had since Sunshine. And as much as I like the fun linearity, simple fun of Mario Land and 3D Land and 3D World, they didn't really have the same epicness that like the Galaxy games had, and I'm glad we're going back to this. And I can't wait for it. Can't wait for it enough. Words fail me. I can't look forward to it enough.
Yeah, and of course you've got the new Zelda Breath of the Wild coming out as well. So again, there is something definitely going to be happening with this. I just feel that I think that Nintendo really got to watch this year and see how their sales are going, and then market 2018 as something a lot stronger, because I feel they've got so much potential, as they did with the Wii U. There was so much potential they wasted because they didn't actually release the games at the right time. I mean, for the Super Smash Bros, they had the 3DS version, then the Wii U version. When they could have swapped them around, more people would have definitely bought the Wii U because I thought, well, I can't wait a few months for the 3DS version of Smash Bros. I'll buy the Wii U. I think that would have really helped them. But again, I'm not in charge of a big multi-million-dollar corporation.
You're not.
And neither is Nintendo
All
at the
these years,
moment.
you lied to me.
I know, but Nintendo are not really a multi-billion-dollar company anymore because they're making silly mistakes, which I think a lot of other companies would not do. I don't think Sony would do this at the moment. So, anyway, I think we've got to really just say to Nintendo, the ball is in your court now.
Exactly. Yes, yeah, my closing thoughts are that the ball is in their court. I think they have the right opportunity to make the Switch a really, really big success. I hope they do. Is they're going to be really, really careful now in terms of what games they make and how quickly they make them. Because, I'll come back to this again and again. I do appreciate their change in mindset because they didn't have to, create this huge, epic, new, completely different Zelda game with voice acting in it, actually, which you never had before. And that's a completely different from everything else in the franchise. They didn't have to make that. They didn't have to, make a fully fledged Splatoon sequel when a port probably would have done just as well. They didn't have to make a brand new exploration-based Mario game when a 3D World 2 probably would have still sold millions. I think they are changing their mindset. I think they are prepared and to listen to their consumers and to adapt appropriately.
Definitely. So, as we said, Nintendo, if you're listening to this, which I assume they will be.
They probably will be. Will be. Yeah, definitely. Yeah.
The ball is in your court. Make the Switch a success. Prove me wrong. That's what I want.
But yes, as a nice testament to Nintendo, we should be leading on to our next musical interlude with probably a song from one of Nintendo's most popular franchises, and as long as they still have it, it'll probably still be alright. It's a song track from Pokemon X and Y. Yeah, so that was the battle music when you face the the box art Pokemon from X and Y. I think Xehanort and Yilvatul. I can't quite pronounce what they are, but
Doing well.
and if you play X and Y, then it has a nice bit of nostalgia for you. But anyway, I guess moving on to the last section of our show today. As we welcome in the new Nintendo Switch, it's time to say farewell to our long lost friend, the Wii U.
Yes, I think it's time we say a proper goodbye to it, because as much as it has been a console that really, I think, struggled, it did have a lot of good games on there, and I feel that it's terrible that some of these games just didn't get the sales that it deserved. There's a lot on here that I feel that deserves so much more, just they didn't get it, because it was on a console that just, didn't sell, and I just think it had so many limitations that the public just didn't want it, which is sad in a way. So we will now be doing the top 10 Wii U games over its entire lifespan. I think it was about 4 years, I believe.
Yeah, more or less. And just note, these are exclusive games for the Wii U, because, well, to say that the Wii U's history was rocky is a bit of an understatement, but, while we want to do this list, because we want to advertise just how good some of its exclusive titles are that you can only get on the Wii U.
Yes. So, shall we start with number 10?
At number 10, we have The Wonderful 101.
Yes, I chose this one because I feel that it is a game that is absolutely different to many things that are actually on the consoles anyway. You control some superheroes, and you basically just it's chaos. Basically, it's utter chaos where you're fighting monsters, and you'll be able to battle opponents using a variety of basically mini superheroes. It's that creativity that I love about Nintendo, and I wish they used more of it instead of just bank on nostalgia. Because this is completely different, brand new, and it was, I think, a really hidden gem of 2013 when the Wii U was going to get its legs out there. And this, I think, really showed that Nintendo can do something that's off the wall in a way.
Yeah, well, did you say it's completely different? Because when I look at it, I mean, I instinctively just think about Pikmin, because it is generally the same kind of formula of basically, bird's eye perspective and taking control of a captain, basically controlling a bunch of other hundreds of minions. But it's blending that idea, but then mixing it with a kind of beat 'em up sense, and it creates this really interesting, and ultimately it is a unique experience, and it's got a really cool, this funny, wacky style to it, and I think that's what Wii U does best. Has these really interesting, charming games, have these distinct, either they're wacky, either they're cool, either they're silly, either they're colourful, but they always have charm.
Definitely. Right, number 9.
At number 9, we have a Pokken Tournament, which I'm sure will sit well with any Pokemon fans listening, because I remember being so excited when I saw the release trailer for this, because essentially it's taking Tekken instead, but doing it with Pokemon instead, because I am a huge Pokemon fan. But even I have to admit, I do get, a little bit stale after a while looking at the turn-based combat that's known for. I'm thinking, why can't you, play it like they do in the anime, actually have Pokemon fighting each other in real time? Wouldn't that be amazing? Well, that's exactly what Pokken Tournament gives you. You are Pokemon facing another Pokemon in real time in a 3D environment, with all their moves at your disposal, and it's frantic, it's fast-paced, it's fun, it's got a huge variety of different Pokemon to play as. And it's a gorgeous game, and the fighting mechanics work really, really well. It's just a really generally good fighting game with all your favourite Pokemon.
See, that's why I've never really gone into Pokemon. It's because of the turn-based combat. I've never really liked that. I like things that are happening in real time. The only one I did actually like was a game on the original Game Boy, Fire Emblem: The Sacred Stones. I really got kind of into that. But apart from that, I've never really liked turn-based combat. But having a game where it was in real time, and it's Pokemon, I think really works.
No, definitely. I think the only negative I can say about it is that they did give up one slot to have Pikachu twice, because you can play as normal Pikachu, or you can play as Pikachu in the sumo wrestler's costume. And what the literally hundreds of Pokemon there are out there, yeah, that's a bit of a shame that they couldn't have put a better one in place. But the little nitpicks aside, I think Pokken Tournament is overall a very solid fighter.
Number 8.
Number 8 is Pikmin 3. I think one of Nintendo's sort of less acknowledged franchises, but I think one of its best in my opinion, and it's one it's always had a firm place in my heart. Because once again, I'm sure it's a word I'm using a lot for this list, It's charm. Oh my goodness, there is so much charm in the Pikmin franchise, and I think honestly, if we're talking about graphics at least, graphical capabilities, and which are the best looking games, I think Pikmin 3 would definitely be number one because it is absolutely gorgeous. How realistic the environments are. The grass, the creatures, the fruit. My goodness, the fruit! I have never felt so hungry and thirsty playing a video game before. That's exactly what it is, and it's a charming world to explore. Lots of different Pikmin to use. It's got a really nice, charming story to it. It's just charm all around, and it's just really, really fun.
Yeah, because I've seen bits of Pikmin 3 and the whole franchise, and I've got to agree, those graphics are wonderful. I really think it's something completely different with Nintendo when they can really push out the graphical capability to their console, and that really proved they can do really realistic graphics. And it's cartoony in the sense of the creatures and that, but definitely I think one of their strongest for graphics in being so realistic. It really competed with like PlayStation and Xbox in their graphic capabilities with that title.
Definitely, and I think also just it shows how good it is as a sequel because it was a perfect compromise between how the first two games handled it. So in the first game, you had a time limit, and that you only had 30 in-game days in which to complete your mission. Otherwise, you would fail the game. And then in the sequel, they completely got rid of that, and that you could spend as many days as you wanted completing your mission, which kind of made the game a little bit redundant at that point, and it didn't really feel much pressure or tension. But this game is a perfect compromise because basically any fruit you collect on each day is then your food, and your food goes down each day. So you kind of control how much time limit you have depending on how good you are, and it's a really good balance. And generally, just this is a perfect example. The Pikmin series is a perfect example of what Nintendo does best in taking popular genres and giving it that kind of charming and easily accessible twist to it. Because obviously, Pikmin essentially is the real time strategy kind of genre that usually you typically find on PC games, controlling large, vast armies and conquering nations. But instead, no, now you're a captain controlling vegetables to pick fruit for you, and that's lovely.
Number 7.
Ooh, and number 7 is the game that technically will never end. The game will go on forever, and that is Super Mario Maker.
Yeah, this title kind of came out. I didn't know if there was much hype for this. Maybe I didn't get caught up with it, but it was a game that I personally felt should have been bundled in with like a brand new Super Mario game like 3D World. It was bundled in as extra because it is basically you can play any level you like in Mario through different eras. I believe it's everything. It's basically one big nostalgia fest for Mario games, and they are brutal. Some of those levels are absolutely brutal, but so with this, it was basically make levels to your heart's content, and there'll be new levels like all the time. Just it was kind of their version, I think, of Little Big Planet for the PlayStation 3. It's like the idea of create your own levels, but I think this has so much more nostalgia because you could do different eras of Mario. You could the sound and music all changed with the eras you did. It was again full of charm and really respected. I think the Mario franchise, but I think it should have been bundled with a larger game personally.
I can see why you'd think that. And I remember when I saw it announced, I was very underwhelmed, thinking, oh, it's just a custom created Mario Maker. I thought it would be a simple downloadable title, and I was really puzzled why it took so long to come out. But then, honestly, Nintendo they really exceeded my expectations. They really made a proper, full experience out of this. And this is a game that's up so high, not so much because of what Nintendo did with it, it's just how the community has made it the game it is known today. The community is still constantly making so many interesting and varied levels for it. And it's a perfect testament to what creative games are about, putting the control in the players, in the community, and making literally endless amounts of fun.
Yes, again, it shows what Nintendo do best is when they hand it over to the people who really do love their franchises. Number 6.
Number 6 is The Legend of Zelda: The Wind Waker HD.
You're more of an Zelda fan than I am, so...
Am I? Because I've never really played a Zelda game.
Have you not?
So I don't know why you tell it.
I'm surprised you have not actually really played a Zelda game. But we put this in here because it was a beloved game originally, and they just made it better. Look, it was beautiful to play, and it was a really big game, I think, for the Wii U. It did show that they could make games of this style, and not only with the art style with it, but how big it was as well.
I think, as we were discussing earlier, what the Switch and why it's really exciting how they're making more open-ended, explorative, in-depth games. The reason why that's why this game is up here so high on the list is because it really does stand out. Because I can't really think about many other games on the Wii U that were like that. That really emphasize exploration, grand adventure, in-depth action, things like that. So that's what Zelda's known for. And Wind Waker's, honestly, it's considered to be a flawless, perfect game amongst many. And by giving it a fresh coat of paint and adding all these extra features, I can't see any excuse to not put it on this list, quite frankly.
No, it's definitely deserving of this list because it is. I definitely in like the definitely one of the top 10 games for the Wii U. Anyway, are we gonna do a musical break because we're halfway through our list?
We are halfway through the list. Yes. So we'll come back after this musical interlude. But for now, we're going to play you a song from a relatively recently released game that came out on the Wii U. It's probably now going to be the second to last game ever released on the console, and that is Shantae Half Genie Hero, and it's the theme tune "Dance Through the Danger." That song is cheesy, but I do love it.
Yeah, it was good. I hope no one was lactose intolerant for that song, to be honest. Anyway, back to the top 10 list of the best Wii U games. Number 5.
And number 5 is Mario Kart 8.
Yes, and the next entry into the long-running series of Mario Kart games, and I think it just built on from what the previous entries had actually done.
Yeah, honestly, I don't know what else I can say for this, really. It's Mario Kart, something everyone knows, it's something everyone loves. It's a beloved franchise, beloved formula that, honestly, just maxed up to the nth degree. It's got a huge roster of characters, huge number of stages, and honestly, it's a little things as well that I really liked about it that really made it more user-friendly. So, obviously, it has huge amounts of customization because you can choose exactly which type of kart you want, which wheels you want, which parasail you want. You can also, choose. It's got great customization in terms of the stages itself, because some stages actually change depending on what season it is when you play them. And there's also little things like how the replay function, how when you finish a race, you can watch back the race you just did from really interesting angles and actually choose to slow down the footage, which is where the slow motion Luigi Death Stare meme came from, which I'm sure many of you are familiar with.
But one thing I liked about the next one in the game is that it continues to evolve, and it takes what works and then just it gets better with it. So definitely have it on this list because it really is just another evolution in the franchise, and also it's being released onto the Switch as well as a deluxe edition. So
yes, deluxe edition. Yeah, because the only one criticism that a lot of people had for Mario Kart 8 is that the battle system was not good at all. But that's exactly what Nintendo is recorrecting themselves with in the deluxe version, because there is going to be a brand new swanking battle mode that looks really fun and interesting with brand new stages and even more new characters, and just doing a lot of really really interesting stuff, making a great game even greater.
That sounds like a slogan of some political campaign. There.
Oh, that was Freudian slip. I assure you. But actually, well, okay. My personal criticism of Mario Kart 8 actually is that everyone thinks, oh, the gravity, mechanic, that you can ride up walls and stuff. That's so cool and original. Technically, Crash Nitro Kart did it first.
Yeah, way back on the PS2. I think that was that 2003, 4?
Probably, yeah. Just saying, Crash did it first.
Yeah.
But
Yeah, definitely. That it's what meme was it? It's like Simpsons did it first. No, Crash did it first.
Crash did it first. Yeah, actually, yeah. Do your homework. Right, number 4.
Number 4.
Yes, that's what I said. Yeah, number 4.
But continuity and everything.
Oh,
Bayonetta
right.
2.
Yes, Bayonetta 2. Haha. Have you played this game, Jonathan?
No, I
or
haven't.
played any of the Bayonetta games?
I have not. I've been deprived of that.
Oh, I really don't know where to start. It is like the Spinal Tap of game series. Everything is over the top to the nth degree. It's completely wild. It's crazy. It's in your face. I absolutely love it. It's basically taking the Devil May Cry beat 'em up formula and just maximizing it complete to its. Words can't even describe what degree I would describe the level it reaches. But it's as frantic, it's fast, it's really, really in your face. The gorgeous visuals. And it's a crazy experience playing it. I really can't think of many words to describe it. It's something that you have to really play to believe. But just trust me when I say that it's absolutely... I think it's perfect, honestly. I can't think of anything wrong with it. The battle system is so fluid, so easy to play around with, so easy to pull off really cool moves and mechanics with. It's perfect, to me at least.
But it only ends up on number 4 if it's perfect.
Well, I guess, subjectively anyway.
There's more games coming up that will rise above it a little bit. I think
maybe a little bit. I guess maybe the sex appeal of Bayonetta 2 doesn't appeal to everyone. It doesn't appeal to me. That's not the reason why I enjoy it, but it's certainly a big aspect for a lot of people. I wish we wouldn't have that amount of sexualization into it, because I think it still would have been a fine, perfect game without it. But nonetheless, what are you gonna do?
Anyway, number 3.
Number 3 is Splatoon, which is it was a really big, pleasant surprise for a lot of people, because honestly, this was like I think it still is the most recent brand new IP and franchise Nintendo has made in a long, long time, since the original Mii's. Because one criticism Nintendo gets a lot is that it relies a bit too much on nostalgia, on bringing back all its known characters, franchises, and games over and over and over again, which people do certainly like. But it's nice to see them do something creative and original, which is exactly what Splatoon was. It did the traditional Nintendo thing of taking a popular genre and making it family friendly, making it really accessible, making it really fun. And like I say, it took can we just applaud them, the fact that they took the shooter genre, shooting games, and made it okay for kids.
Yeah, because the characters are squids, right? And
they are squids. They're called inklings.
And they're shooting ink, and the idea is to cover the entire battleground in one team's color. Is that right?
Exactly. Yeah. So the whole match system works on that. You get 3 minutes to cover the map in your team's color the most, and it gets more frantic and competitive than most shooters are, to be honest with you. And I can't describe it other than that. It's really fun. It's competitive fun, and it incorporates a lot of teamwork. There's a lot of great customization with your character models, with your weapon of choice, and it's got a really interesting story. It's got a kind of cute, charming story to it, and there's a lot to really get into. And because Nintendo did a great job of constantly updating it for free, giving you free updates with brand new maps, brand new weapons, brand new everything, really.
So Splatoon will get the bronze medal in our list.
Yes, I think yeah, deservedly so.
Right. So what will be getting the silver medal? Right. Number 2.
Number 2. Well, it's probably your favourite game on the Wii U, Jonathan. So why do you take the lead on this?
I love Super Mario 3D World because I haven't really done much with Nintendo. I know they exist and I've watched their record, but I've never really gone with the hype of all of their games. So while I would put this at number 1, but while I can understand why I would not, is because 3D World is essentially very similar to the previous Mario games. It just looks really pretty, and it is the soundtrack. I think is one of the best soundtracks out of a Nintendo game, because it's just jazz, and more games need jazz music. And I think that they could have changed a lot up for this. I think they played to their strengths at a time when there was not a lot of faith in this game, I remember, and suddenly that it actually turned out really well, and probably one of the best-selling games on the Wii U. Not but one of the best-selling games. But also critically acclaimed as well. There's a big show for the Wii U and a big heavy hitter early on in its life cycle that actually this game was really bucking the trend and something that the Wii U could do. Very nostalgic, but also I think it innovated in its own ways. Just it could have done more. It wasn't Galaxy, we know that, but it played its strengths, I feel.
That's a very fair review. I think that's probably why I would put it on number 2, because I think it's got flawless, fun multiplayer gameplay. I think it's a perfect, fun time to have with family and friends. And I think it's probably one of the best multiplayer games on the Wii U. And I mean, I know that Pikmin 3 was probably the best looking game earlier, but honestly, 3D Worlds comes very close because that game is absolutely beautiful. And like you say, brilliant presentation. Love the music, love the visuals, love everything. I guess my only criticism of it is that maybe it's not as big and expansive as like the Galaxy games are, and it does annoy me how they do repeat bosses quite a lot. But other than that, it's a perfectly solid Mario adventure.
Yes, definitely. So we're coming up to the number 1 pick, so we'll play a bit of music before we reveal the best Wii U game.
And quite fittingly, the next piece of music we're going to play is The Final Battle from Fire Emblem, The Sacred Stones. Oh, how epic indeed.
Yes, this is the big one. This is kind of like the Oscars right now.
The Oscars only have been a small room with 2 nerds.
Yeah, and Wii U games, so yeah.
Of course, exactly like the Oscars.
Yeah, we'll basically be bigger than Jesus, like the Beatles at the moment with this. Anyway, that was an obscure thing. Anyway, number 1.
And number 1, well, I'm pretty sure if anybody has any knowledge on games on the Wii U, you probably guessed that by this point.
Should
What
we
else?
do honorable mentions first? That's a point.
Oh, that is a good
Tease
point.
it up a little bit more.
Oh, yeah, see, yeah, there we go. More tension, more suspense.
Everyone's on the edge of their seats. If they listen to this in the car, I worry. Have you got your seatbelt on?
Yeah, just calm down, all right? Just chill out, guys at home. Right, so honorable mentions.
Yoshi's Woolly World. It's
Quite simply, it's a really fun, charming, cutesy little platformer, and that's all I can really say about it. But it's solid, but not much else to it. But I thought it was worth mentioning it because it's got a lovely charm and graphical style to it. I think it's worth a mention.
Captain Toad's Treasure Tracker. I picked this one because it's just more puzzles, and I love. It was basically took the things from 3D World, made it its own game with Captain Toad, and I love how the spoiler alert. The ending of Treasure Tracker is the beginning of 3D World. It's that little world continuity they didn't need to do, but they did. It's charming.
I really mind how they managed to make quite a big solid game, like a platform puzzler, where the main character can't even jump.
That's incredible. Like, I love at the end he does actually jump to get into the pipe.
Oh, he does jump.
I love it. Like, you think, how's he going to get in there? He jumps. It's just full of charm.
Next is Xenoblade Chronicles X. Just something really for the JRPG fans, really. I'm not really much into JRPGs myself, not my genre, but I'm aware that is a beloved franchise, and a lot of people really enjoyed it. It's got a huge epic scale to it. It's probably one of the most, if not the most mature game that was released on the Wii U.
Yes, and finally, for our honorable mentions, we've got Donkey Kong Country Tropical Freeze, which took the original Donkey Kong Country Returns and just made it prettier on the Wii U. It's not really a standout game, but it deserves a mention, definitely.
Let me mention, I think it's really, really solid. I'd say, arguably, I'd say it's probably the best 2D platformer you will play on the Wii U, depending on what your preferences are. But yeah, I think it's completely, just flawless as 2D platformer fun goes.
Yeah, so what would be number one? I think everyone should know it by now.
Everyone should know. If you don't know, then, well, to be fair, you're probably doing more fun things in your life than reading about video games. But anyway, number one, what else could it be but Super Smash Bros. For the Wii U?
Oh, I thought it was Sonic Boom.
Rise of Lyric.
Yeah, that one.
No, that's for a very, very different list. That
I should leave, shouldn't I, for mentioning
that?
that?
We'll do that. We probably should leave. We'll mention that game another time. Don't you worry. But yeah, Super Smash Bros. For Wii U. What else can I say? I don't know a single person who does not like Super Smash Bros.
Yeah, I agree with that. From what I played of it, it's a lot of fun.
And I've never really seen a game that's packed with so much content as this one. The amount of characters, the amount of stages, the amount of extras, the amount of customization, the amount of music you can listen to, the amount of demos you can play, because you do little live wire. I say live wire. Oh, that's because someone live wire waving at me. That'll be why. No, I meant how you could do the masterpieces demos they include on disc as well, and the trophies, the photos, that everything, the campaign, the online. There was just so much content shoved into it, and they still kept on adding more DLC. I've never seen a game as packed as that.
But also, I think it was the amount of hype for this game was just... I haven't seen anything like that. Now, okay, it did come out on the 3DS first. I'd have had the Wii U version first, in my opinion, because you'd get more sales for it. But the hype for this game was quite something, I have to be honest. I haven't really seen anything like that in terms of a Nintendo Wii U game for... Well, in fact, the last time I saw this was really the original, the previous Super Smash Bros.
Oh yes, of course, yeah, Bear Brawl, which I believe, yeah, it's one annoying thing about it now. It's quite hard to go back and play the old ones now. It's because how vastly superior the new one is. Of course, a lot of people do complain and argue that Melee technically had a better fighting system, but I'm not quite as diehard as they are. But
Did it have random tripping in Melee?
No, that was Brawl that had the random tripping.
What, that was it, yeah.
But they got rid of that, thankfully. That probably was the worst feature around Brawl. But no, Wii U, I think it's a perfect balance between the fast-paced nature of Melee and more the slow-paced nature of Brawl. It's good in between. Again, so many characters, so many stages, just so much possibilities, so much endless fun. Then you got the amiibos as well, amiibo training. You got the customizable Miis. Then you get the extra customizable extra moves for every character that you can customize to your leisure. Just so much.
I will say, because I love you could use the Miis in Smash Bros. I love how it starts off. You got Link, Bowser, Fred. There's just Fred in the corner, like, hello.
Well, the announcer won't actually ever announce the name. It'll just say me. Though I do love how the announcer, it says he's really happy and confident and grand with everyone's name, except for Greninja, who just goes Greninja. He's almost questioning Greninja's place.
Just there. But what this list does show is that the Wii U had so many good titles. It's a shame it just didn't sell. I think that was what we're really getting at today with our whole podcast, is that we want the Switch to succeed, and if they have the amount of love that they gave to the Wii U with the types of games, I think this could be really successful for them. So that was the message really of our show. That's what we wanted to do with this, and we definitely like to thank you all for listening.
Nice. Thanks very much. This is certainly the first official episode of Game Engine.
And hopefully it'll be more regular as time goes on.
Hopefully. We'll see how it goes, won't we?
Yeah,
see how it goes.
It's always the hopefully part. It's
always a hopefully part.
Definitely.
Yeah. Definitely that.
So our outro song for today?
Our outro song for today is, quite fittingly, Nintendo themed show. We're ending on the song from Super Mario 3D World. And quite climactically and epically, we are ending on World Bowser.